All right, guys and girls, we're back. Let's jump into this new segment. It's Dave's Diatribe, and if you don't know what a diatribe is, you better listen to this. This is Dave's Diatribe. What's a diatribe? A diatribe is a forceful and bitter attack against someone or something. So keep your head down. You might be next. That's right, you could be next. The idea of this segment is that we're going to have a bit of a dig at something that we've seen, heard, or know about. And in this instance, obviously, the thing we're talking about this week is World Supercross. Now, there's two things I want to have a bit of a dig at. And look, yes, it's terrible that we're going that way, but they were done very poorly, and I would have expected these things to be a bit better organized. It's a mainstay. One of them's a mainstay aspect of every event, and so surely they could have figured it out a bit better, and that's the podiums. Honestly, what the hell happened at those podium presentations? We had Joseph Allen, and look, no hate on Joseph Allen. He does a good job. He's a hype man, but he got that all ballsed up for this first round in Cardiff. We had the guys coming out getting announced in the wrong order. He got them to do champagne before they'd even got their trophies. It was just a bit embarrassing. Guys have got to get on top of that. Whether Joseph maybe wasn't listening to the guy in his ear telling him who to announce, whether they didn't have the results yet and they were still trying to do the math and he just jumped ahead and went for it, I don't know. But that should have been done a fuckload better, to be honest. Second thing we're going to have a dig at, the onboard cameras. Now, in MotoGP and in Formula One, where you're on a smooth asphalt track, it's very easy to have a camera sit on a bike or sit on a car and go at a speed and see clearly from that camera. When you're on a supercross track and you're hitting triples and whoops and your bike's going up and down at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and also the revs of that bike are coming on and off really hard and fast at times to hit these jumps, the camera technology clearly can't keep up. It was blurry as shit, guys, and it was actually making me sick. I can't watch a GoPro footage at the best of times, let alone that. That was horrible. Please clean it up, or please don't do it if you can't clean it up. It was just an ugly thing to watch. But I do like the idea that it's going to happen, but you guys have got to get some better technology, maybe some rubber mounts to put on these cameras. Maybe the cameras, talk to GoPro and get some better stabilization features. I don't know, but whatever you was doing, it wasn't working well. But I like the idea that in time we'll be able to jump onto, your favorite rider, Joey Savacci, and watch his line from his camera for the race. If you're on some of these, TV subscription services that we'll have in future. Now, I know I just said I don't like subscription services, but it's going to happen. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to deal with that and pay for it, which sucks. But anyway, if they do have that and you can pick from every bike, front and rear, and watch these races from there as a second or a third screen and keep the main race on as well, I think that'd be pretty cool. But for the moment, it's blurry as shit. And we can't have it, and I can't take it. And if you keep trying to watch a whole lap on that thing, I'm going to throw up. And then I'm going to send the cleaning bill to WSX. That's where we're at on that side of things. So, look, guys, please don't do it again. All right, that's enough of Dave's diatribe. You get the message, you get the idea. It's a bit of an attack. We're going to have these segments come up each time we do a AlwaysMoto podcast. So if you've got any ideas about what we should be having a diatribe on, send them through to AlwaysMoto on Twitter or on Instagram, and we'll get that topic talked about. And if it's a really good one and it's not my passion point, we might even call you up and get you on. So send us through some good ones, guys and girls, and we'll endeavor to make this Dave's Diatribe segment a bit more interactive and even more diatribatic. I'm not sure if that's a word. I'll have to check that one. Anyway, all right, we're going to move on. Let's get straight into our interview with Grant Harlan from the ClubMX Yamaha World Supercross team. All right, guys and girls, now on the AlwaysMoto podcast, we've got one of the riders from the World Supercross. He's riding for ClubMX Yamaha. It's the number 65 of Grant Harlan. Welcome to the show, Grant.
How you doing?
I'm doing well, mate. How was the whirlwind trip around the world at the moment? You're back from Cardiff. I gather you're back in the States at the moment.
Yeah, got back Sunday afternoon around 1:00. So, trip is good. First time out of the country for me, which was nice, and the team made it feel pretty good. So, yeah, excited to be back and getting ready for Australia here in about a week and a half.
Yeah, nice. So did I catch that right? You've never actually been out of the country before?
No, it was my first time out of the States. Even though I did get my passport in 2020, when I turned pro, just in case something like this did come up. So,
Yep.
um, glad I did, and glad I was ready for something like this.
Yeah, nice. Well, that's a pretty big first trip out of the out of the country to go to a World Supercross event. So, and not just for a holiday, it was actually paid. So nice work. Yep.
Yeah, no, it was super nice. The whole team took care of me pretty well.
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
So how did this ride with Club MX come about? Like obviously for you in the US in the outdoors, you were on a Cowie for the outdoors, and then obviously the last round on a Honda. And that was all privateer based, I believe. Whereabouts does this setup come from? Did they call you? Do you call them? How do you get on Club MX for the World Supercross Series?
yeah, so I finished up with the outdoor series at Paula. Wasn't even planning on doing that, but DM Kiefer asked if he had a bike. He said yeah, so I decided to go out there wing it. Had a really good result, best of the year. So I think that helped a little bit, and then got myself a Honda 250. Was getting ready to do the local money races like Swan Pro Challenge and a couple others, and um, was actually driving out to get my suspension set up when Mike Bonacci at ClubMX gave me a call and asked if I wanted to ride the 450 for World Supercross this year, and I mean, really, really hard to turn that down. So, yeah, I think that was like a Wednesday or Thursday, and flew out on Sunday.
And so how many weeks from the first round was that you got that call? Are we talking like 2, 3, 4? Whereabouts were we? So just wondering about prep time for you on all this side of things.
I believe I got the call on like the 9th of September or something,
Okay. Yep.
or
So just over a
might have
month.
been that week. Yeah, so I actually got quite a bit of prep time on the bike, 3.5, 4 weeks of riding. So um, I think that was super helpful for sure. I know a lot of guys that kind of got the calls late, didn't get much prep time, so
Yeah, obviously,
that
and
was
a
nice.
lot of them were changing bike brands too, from just to get a ride in it too. So that would have been a lot harder not having much time on an unfamiliar brand as well.
Yeah,
At least you
exactly.
got a decent amount of time to get comfortable.
Yeah, like Henry Miller got the call from Rick Ware Racing the the weekend before, so he didn't get any time on the bike.
Yeah, that would be tough.
So
So yeah.
yeah,
So that like
for sure.
obviously we're saying here like about 4 weeks, say for prep time. Like you're saying that's a long time, but like what are you able to focus on in that 4 weeks other than just getting comfortable on the bike? Are you doing much physical prep in that time, other than obviously riding the laps, or what's the focus in that 4 weeks? I don't think that's a long time. We consider pre-seasons, normally before Anaheim, you're sort of talking like an 8 or longer week period that you're getting ready. But maybe not for you as a privateer previously. I don't know. What is this? How was this prep for you?
So I mean, it's not really a whole lot of time. Like I came into the summer off an injury and got on a new bike, so I didn't have much time. I think I had 3 or 4 days on the bike before the first race, and then drove to every race. So there wasn't a whole lot of off the bike training or on the bike training through the through the summer.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the riding I was doing was through racing,
Yep.
and then so that's kind of where the most of my in shape came from. Not really from the gym or practice, just from racing. So, um, once I got here, they asked me if I wanted to get started on outdoors or supercross. Since it was a new bike and everything like that, and been riding outdoors, and I decided to just hop on supercross day one just to get comfortable, which I've only ridden the 450 on supercross once and it didn't go that well, so it was a little bit of a risk, but I knew I needed to get comfortable and get comfortable pretty fast. So took that risk, and you know, I think it took 2 or 3 days to get comfortable and get everything down and get up to speed.
Yep.
And after that, I think I mean, we had a pretty good idea of what the night program was going to look like. So most of the riding we did was based around the main event moto format.
So you're mimicking that most days at the track then, I gather, like in terms of that short turnaround, short burst of effort?
Yeah, so we pretty much started off like, I think, like 2:24 for sprints, and then we built up every day from there on how long the sprints were.
Okay.
And I think by the last week we ended up on the 8-8-12 format.
Yep.
But we figured there was going to be a little bit more time between the races. I think we were kind of prepping for 7 or 8 minutes. So the 4 minutes that we did have at the race was a little bit of a surprise, but
Was that
we kind of
information
had
not really portrayed to the teams correctly, or were you guys just assuming that they would have a little bit of delay in terms of like TV getting from an ad, or that there'd be riders dragging off the track sort of slowly before they couldn't get everybody to the gate in time? Was that what you guys were sort of banking on, or you just didn't get the right information from the organisers to begin with?
I'm honestly not sure, to be honest.
Okay, yeah,
I was just going based off of what what I was told when I got here and kind of what we were training for.
yeah,
Like I said,
yeah,
and maybe that was the decision they made. You know, they could have sent out that information and um, came together and discussed something else, and that's what they came up with. Because when we got the schedule at the race, it showed like the time gap between each race, and it was like, you know, let's say 750 was main one for us,
yeah.
and main two started at 7:58, and it was 8 laps. So
Yeah, you
I don't
start doing the
know
math, and it's not
if,
not much time there, is there?
yeah. So I don't know if the time between the races was planned or if it's something that they just kind of went off based off, how long it took the riders to get in the gate and whatnot. So
Okay.
um, we'll see how it goes for Melbourne, and if they make any changes or if they kind of keep the format they had for this first one.
Yeah, I'm curious because, and seeing as we're on that topic with the format, it was one of those things that a lot of people have spoken about, and for me watching it, I was like, geez, this is over before it even, it's just started and it's over already. And we obviously had a little chat on Twitter back and forth about some of the options that we might be able to, implement to change things, but I don't think neither of us really came up with a good outcome there. But for you as a rider, what do you see needs to happen in this format? Because it was, bang, 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 and it was done.
Yeah, so I haven't watched the broadcast any, so I don't have much input in terms of that.
Mm-hmm.
But as a rider, like, I think the night program itself is good. The racing's quick. There's a lot of action.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and even so, we got to watch all three mains from the stands.
For
The
the
450 guys did.
Yeah, for the SX2
Like,
class, you got to see it all.
yeah, so like we weren't on the line or in staging or anything. We got to watch the racing before us,
Mm-hmm.
and then we picked our gates, and then we went back and got our helmets and bikes and whatever. So we got to see kind of how it played out and what it looked like. And I mean, when I was sitting there watching it, my heart was racing, and I was pretty nervous about the race I had coming up. So I think, like I said, the format itself was really cool, and I think from a fan's perspective, it was good for them. But I also think that maybe it was a little too fast. Not necessarily the laps or the race time, just the lack of break in the races for the teams, the riders, the production, everybody.
Yeah, I think like from what you're saying there as the rider too, in sitting in the stands, I think that'd probably be that format would be fantastic if you're just purely watching from the stand point of view, because there'd be no lag time in the stadium. Like there'd be no gap between the races. It's just continuously going. But when you're sitting there at home watching it on the TV, as I was in this instance from the Cardiff round, it seemed like there wasn't enough time for the TV crew to actually do any sort of production between time to do any replays of the race or the crashes that happened in the first race, or even comment, do an interview properly with the race winner from that one. Like you got maybe a sentence from them while they're trying to put the whole shot device or something on the gate. And it just seemed like that was super rushed, and you could get more out of it and be more entertaining from a TV point of view. But we're obviously got to look at this as a live event and a TV event, and how the riders can approach all this as well. So it's difficult.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think while we were watching the 250 main, me and Cade had the stopwatch out, and from the time first place hit the finish line to when the gate was dropped was 4 to 4.5 minutes. So, if you take a guy that didn't get lapped but was, close to the leaders,
Mm.
so he gets another 45 seconds around the track.
Yeah, so he's in the
That's
3 minute mark somewhere. So
yeah, so he gets in the gate, and he's taking his goggles off, and they got the 2 minute board up, which I mean, that's just something that's going to happen. When you're the last guy off the track, you're going to get the least amount of time to get ready. But 2 minutes is not a lot for high intensity racing like that. So I think just extending that a little bit, just give everyone a little bit of time to prepare, and I think it will help the racing for one, and it'll help the production, and keep people informed a little bit better. But one thing I do like about the schedule and the current program is how quick it gets done. Like, I feel like a lot of series, they drag out a little bit and they get done really late. So I think that's one thing that they did really well.
do you think that's in part because maybe the day itself isn't as long, because you're not having like all the A, B, and C qualifying groups to get through as well? So you only got, one qualifying group for each thing, and then you're into the night program sort of thing. Like, do you think that's part of it?
Oh yeah, that for sure is a huge part of it. You got two groups of 11 guys and 250, two groups of 11 guys and 450, and they each get two practices, and then you got heat races for everyone, and there's no LCQ. They got the Super Pole, which doesn't take a whole lot of time, and then the main events go pretty quickly. So um, yeah, I mean, for the system they have, I think it works out really well.
Yeah, definitely. I think that side of things is probably a massive positive for you guys. You're probably not just sitting around as long between, waiting for everything, getting getting nervous, or having to warm up and can cool down as many times in the day as well, from a physical prep point of view as well.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, it doesn't drag on, from 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's pretty quick.
Yeah, definitely. Look, I think there's obviously positives in all of this. It's just got to be critiqued a little bit to make it work better around all aspects. And I think that's sort of where I was coming from initially with some of the comments on Twitter when we had that back forth. But it's which one's the right one, I don't know. But I'm sure there'll be some adaptations come Melbourne in some form for you guys, whether it's the time between races is set to 5 minutes or something, or what it is. But I'm sure there'll be something that's different about it, and it'll be hopefully an improvement in it from that aspect, and not just an improvement for one group, but hopefully for all.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure, because this is a new series, we'll see things, either get better or get worse, just as they play around with it, and as the series evolves, and they find what works best. But I think a lot of people, need to realize that this is a new series, and there are going to be things that don't work right now, but it is racing, so let's enjoy it while we got it.
Yeah, and look, you enjoyed the event itself in general, didn't you? Like, it wasn't like you're never going back or anything, so it's a positive in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's more rides for guys, like, I know people kind of are like, oh, all the vets are coming out, but um and I mean, most of my team is over 25, and I'm 21 now, so I mean, there are younger guys that are in the series, so I think it is good overall for the sport.
Yeah, I think that comment
Just
about on
more racing.
yeah, the more racing's awesome, but I think the comment on like the older guys coming back out, I think purely was just down to contract availabilities this year. Like everyone was a bit tied up and didn't know that when they were making deals a year or two ago. So I think next year might be a bit different picture on that side of things.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you have to get guys that people know of to race. You
Yeah.
know, like the Chad Reeds and the Roxons and the Tomacs, and you know, you can't have people that nobody knows of. Like, not to, you know, be negative, but like, you can't have a bunch of me's out there. It'd be cool if you know, guys in my position, you know, could fill all 22 spots in a class, but they also have to bring in a crowd
Mm.
and stuff like that. So you know, you have to have guys that people know of. So
Yeah.
sometimes that is the older guys like Seeley coming back and Reed coming back and stuff like that.
Yeah, unfortunately, Grant Harlan probably isn't selling the extra 10,000 tickets to the stadium versus Chad Reed.
Exactly.
So yeah, at least
Exactly.
at this point in your career, maybe in a couple of years' time that might change. Let's hope. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a good opportunity for me to get my name out there for the fans. You know, whether you know I do well or not. You know, they're gonna see my name and hopefully see it more in the next coming years.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And so, look, let's switch gears a little bit here. Like with these events being international, as we sort of, you touched on, this was the first time out of the country. How are you dealing with the extra travel? Like, obviously, from an AMA point of view, you're only really changing a couple of hours from one coast to the other in terms of time zones. Your flights are probably all done within a couple of hours to get, anywhere, or you drive to events. How are you approaching this travel aspect? Now the flight from, you're at ClubMX at the moment, isn't it? So you're going to have to go across the country to LA, I gather, and then from LA 14 hours down to Melbourne for the next round. How are you approaching that extra travel requirement for all this?
Yeah. So for Wales, we had like a, I don't know, 10 o'clock flight out of Charlotte, 10 p.m. that is,
Yep.
and we got there 11 to noon. And I'm pretty good about sleeping, so I was able to sleep the whole way, or at least 5 6 hours of it. So
Yep.
when I got there Wednesday, I didn't really have much jet lag. I just I kind of woke up and it's morning, so um I was pretty fortunate about that, not having too much jet lag
Mm-hmm.
for the week. And then we flew out pretty early Sunday morning, and I stayed awake most of the flight. I think I napped a little bit, but got back to Charlotte at 1 o'clock, and by the time it was nighttime, I was ready for bed. So
You're good to go. Yeah.
I think, yeah, I think the flight times we had for that were good and worked out well for me. And I'm not exactly sure what time we fly out from Charlotte for Melbourne, but we do, most of us go from Charlotte to LA,
Mm-hmm.
LA to Brisbane, I think, and then Brisbane to Melbourne.
Oh, you
I
got it
know a couple
connecting there.
guys, yes, and I know a couple guys go from Charlotte to Dallas and then Dallas to Australia, which is kind of strange, but
Hmm.
they all get there. So
Yeah, yeah. So how many days, like when are you actually getting into the country? Like, are you a day or two out, like, and you've got time to get over the jet lag, or are you like really close to the event and you're not having much relaxing time before you've got to perform?
yeah, so with the UK, we flew out on Tuesday night and got there Wednesday, and um, for Australia, we fly out Monday at some time and get there Wednesday. So
Okay.
um, we got, what is it, like four days to kind of get adjusted and used to the time. So I think we get plenty of time.
Yeah, and I gather the World Supercross guys have got you doing some of the touristy promotion things as per the coverage that I saw you guys at a castle or something on the TV. So it's not like it's a too strenuous a day when you are on those few days before the race, I gather.
Yeah, no, luckily the couple days before practice and racing is pretty relaxing, and just getting the to see the country a little bit, and um yeah, just relax
Well,
and take it all in.
I'm sure they're going to be filling you with kangaroo pictures for the Australian round. So just watch out for all the kangaroos, stuff coming up. I'm sure that's what they'll have you doing it.
Yeah, hopefully they aren't too aggressive. I've heard a little bit of mixed reviews on that, and Honestly, I'm looking forward to the coffee. I heard it's some of the best. So.
I'm not a coffee drinker, so I can't comment on it. So
Oh
you'll have to
man.
let me know for
Oh
sure
man.
if it's any better or not. I'm not on that
Oh
program.
man. I'll let you know.
Yeah, right.
I'll let you know for sure.
Awesome. Well, so what about the like this is obviously a very short pilot series for the World Supercross this year. It's 2 rounds. How's the motivation for you from you've done 1 round, you've only got one left. Is it hard to sort of, be excited about it, or are you just I'm here, I'm getting my name out there and it's a race and I'm going to give it 100% every time and you're fully driven to do it?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like I think I'm in a position where I need to be getting results. I can't show up and just, wherever I get is whatever I get, and, not too worried about it. I'm looking to, get my name out there more and get some results on the table. So, I mean, the motivation's there to get good results and perform. And I mean, even then, um, being this is the first time I've raced Supercross on a 450, get as much experience with it as I can for this upcoming AMA Supercross series and um, possibly outdoors next year or World Supercross if something else comes up. So yeah, I think like I said, getting results and getting experience racing these guys.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's just I'm curious. It's one of those things. Like I didn't know if you'd get perked up for the first round, but then if having to travel all that way and not being able to really do too much between the 2 rounds, whether the motivation would be there because it's already final round sort of thing. It's hard to sort of see how you could be really pushing for it the whole time. But you've got a viewpoint to try and make something out of it for next year, which is awesome.
Yeah, like with it being a 2 race series, it's hard to view it as a series from like a rider's perspective. Like, I'm not in a championship battle for it.
Mm.
Um, so it's really just like I have a race and the better I do, the more I make. So, um, yeah, like I said, the better I do, the more I make. So
That's
the
the
better I
motivation.
do. Yeah, exactly.
So between these 2 rounds, are you getting on the bike much? How many days are you going to have? Like you said, you're flying out Monday. Today's Tuesday your time. So you've got
Yeah.
6 days now. How many times are you getting to ride?
So the current plan is Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay. Yep. So you are going to cram in a few extra, like 4 days. That's a fair amount. So yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's kind of what a typical week has been here. Which we normally do like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yep.
2 days on, one day off, 2 days on. I think I would have rather liked to do Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, just to have Sunday off to, kind of get everything ready to go.
Yep.
But um, this is what we got going on. So
That's the plan. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, yeah. So are you with the bikes between rounds? Like, were you comfortable enough at that first round, and don't need to make changes as such, or are you even able to make too many changes given the bikes are crated up between rounds and sent to the next location? I gather obviously parts and stuff are a little bit limited what you've got there. What's that side of things like for you guys, or even are you even worried about that because you're not the bike's comfortable and perfect, then you're not touching it?
Yeah, I mean the bike's been pretty good since I got here. I haven't made too many changes.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it's just trying to get comfortable with it, and the bike was pretty good when I got it. So um, I've tried not to make too many changes, and I think I made a couple clickers here and there when I was at the race, and may play around with that a little bit while I'm here, but there won't be too many changes. Nothing internally, just
Okay.
clickers.
But even if you wanted to, would it be difficult in this situation with the bikes and stuff and the parts availability? Like you don't just have the big semi, there with full of a drawer full of shims and stuff. Like,
Yeah, I mean if I were to make a change, it probably would have been something I had to make known on Saturday so we could get it in motion,
yeah,
either to try it here this week and travel with it to the race, or have it done and ready to go for the race and before I even rode it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think at least for me personally, I don't think a change internally to the valving or anything like that is a possibility, but um, maybe for other guys or other teams, whatever.
Yeah. It's just a different scenario for
If
everybody to
they
deal
need
with
it,
now, isn't it? So yeah.
Yeah, and I think as much as the series is learning, with the races and everything like that, the teams are also learning with um, what they can get away with bringing to the races in the crates, and what they can do during the week to get ready for the next one. So
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think I think it's a good learning platform for everyone right now.
Yeah, and I was just thinking too, as you're saying that, like what you might be able to travel with in your bag might be different from one country to another. Like obviously customs at different places, and security officers in different countries are going to look at shocks and suspension parts and stuff bit differently from one place to another. So it might not work so easily. You might be able to take it to Cardiff, but not to Melbourne, sort of thing. So
Yeah, I think there's a pretty big deal about the bikes being dirty from Cardiff to Melbourne.
oh yeah,
Like
yep.
you're not allowed to bring the dirt from there to Australia.
Yeah, Australian customs, because obviously we're an island as such, a massive island, but we're an island. We have pretty big, biohazard sort of custom regulations. So any dirts and grime and stuff on anything, whether it's your boots, your helmet, your bike, they want to quarantine it. And it could be 2 weeks, it could be longer that they keep it for. So if it turns up dirty, it's not coming out. So you guys probably would have had to do a massive cleanup job on all of the parts so that when they get inspected at customs in Melbourne somewhere, that they actually get through. Otherwise you might end up with not having a bike because it's in quarantine for 2 weeks. So
Yeah, so I know we had started loading up bikes, and they came by and told us that, and we didn't want to wash because I mean, wash the bike and throw it in a crate while it's still wet
yeah,
is just a
yuck.
recipe for bad news. So we're sitting there like wiping all the dirt and stains off, and you know wiping the wheels down with a brush, and doing whatever we can to get the bikes clean enough to make it through customs. So
Yeah. Well, make sure.
so
I don't know
stuff
if
like
are you
that too.
carrying your gear in the crates with the bikes, or are you bringing your gear yourself in your your luggage as such?
Yeah, so I pretty much got here like right when the crates were leaving. So I wasn't able to throw, helmets or
Yeah.
boots or anything like that on the crate. So I'm traveling with all that,
Well,
and I I keep them clean anyway
I was
because
gonna
I don't
say.
like to have them dirty in the gear bag. But
Yeah, make sure for Melbourne that they're really Mickey Mouse clean because they'll look at them funny. And make sure you declare that you've got you know products that may contain soil on your little slip that you get when you're coming into the country, and then they'll just tick it off when you say, "Oh, it's just some bike shoes," and that's all you've got to say, and they'll be like, "Tick, yep, walk straight through this door over here." It happens to me all the time. I've done it a
yeah,
few
wow,
times
that's
now.
pretty intense.
Yeah, yeah. They do check a lot, and if you bring, weird foods and stuff, they'll do that too. But yeah, the dirt thing is a difficult thing for us as dirt bike riders to pass the quarantine, especially with a short turnaround with as to when you need the stuff. So just make sure it's clean.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully all the teams are all good.
Yeah,
Got
definitely.
everything clean enough.
Could make for an interesting storyline, but such and such doesn't have a bike for this week.
Yeah, five teams don't have motorcycles to race,
Yeah,
so
exactly. Yeah, we're
we don't know
canceling.
what we're doing.
Yeah, exactly. So, what about yourself? What's the plans? Obviously, this race is the last one for this series, and this one coming up for Melbourne. Have you got plans in place for 2023 AMA rounds or any other international races between now and January? What's got? Have you got anything signed, basically?
Nothing signed. Pretty much working on getting my own deal going for 23.
Okay,
Besides this race, I don't think there's going to be any more racing for me before Anaheim.
okay.
Um, and pretty much just planning to do 450 Supercross.
All 17.
That's the goal.
Okay, yep, nice.
Easier said than done.
Yeah.
It's a long series and something I haven't done before. So, um, especially on the 450. So it'll be a learning experience, and just take it week by week and just keep getting better.
And then, like you mentioned before, trying to set up something World Supercross wise, is that even on the topics yet, or are teams not even at that stage for what's going on because the schedules and stuff aren't set as such yet?
Yeah, I'm not too sure what's going on for World Supercross for next year. I'm just pretty lucky. I got the opportunity that I did for this year, so I think have a good race at Melbourne will help a lot for that, and then just make main events for Supercross and AMA, and I'm sure something will open up, and if not, we'll go racing outdoors in the summer because I'm more of an outdoor guy myself anyway. I do enjoy the summer, but the Supercross is where it's at.
So you take
I'm open for whatever.
Yeah, you're looking for an opportunity. If there's one there, you'd take it. So for World Supercross,
Absolutely.
Yeah, nice.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Look, I think that's all the questions I got for you at the moment, but I appreciate you jumping on, and I'm really glad to see you out there at those World Supercross rounds with the ClubMX guys. It's been awesome having you on the AlwaysMoto podcast.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on.
No, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for your time.
Yep.
Thanks for sticking around, guys and girls. That was a great interview there with Grant Harlan. I enjoyed that chat with him. He's a very personable guy, and just trying to make a good effort for this World Supercross series to, help get his name out and about. And he had some good information there about how he's dealing with the short series and flights and stuff like that. So appreciate Grant coming on. We'll try and get another rider after this final round and see what they have to say about the series and how it's gone for them and what they plan to do next year for the training aspects of it as well. So, all right. One more thing that we hadn't mentioned that we hadn't really come across, the dirt at this series was a bit of an interesting one for Cardiff. Obviously, it might be new dirt or it might be from an old event from a different promoter that they've had to reuse, but there was clearly something wrong with it. One, it was slick as shit, and two, it was sharp as shit because there was plenty of nails sticking out that ended up with a buttload of punches. Interesting to note that one team had 3 punches in one team. That's one each bloody rider, basically. And when we're talking to them, for you guys at home that don't realize and just go, oh, why aren't they running a moose so they can't get a flat? They made an interesting point. Very interesting point that I hadn't actually thought of in this instance because I haven't ridden Supercross, so I didn't know. But I'm a perennial moose user. I do off-road racing, and I thought there was nothing wrong with mooses. They're the best thing since sliced bread. But in the Supercross setting, the team told me that they are no good in a whoop section because the extra foam, will actually change the characteristics and behavior of the bike across that whoop set. So they can't, or they don't want to use them. And in this instance, they didn't even have them with them because they weren't something that they foreseeing as needing, but also they didn't want to use. So even the fact that when they got there and realized there was lots of nails in the soil, they couldn't change because they'd only have so many options in the crates that they travel with for these bikes and parts. So interesting point there. We thought we'd just throw in there at the end before we closed out the show. Didn't want to forget that important aspect there for you guys and girls at home. So, but that's it, guys and girls. Great show this week. Thanks for listening. Hope you got a lot of insight into this one. I put a bit of effort into this and we got some new contacts out of it. We've reached out to all the teams. Not every one of them's got back to us, but most of them have. And it's fantastic to be able to bring you this insight. I hope you enjoyed it. So, and just a reminder too, check out, if you haven't already, check out WSX.tv to see how you in your area or your region can watch the events and sign up if you need to. So make sure you do that. But if you can't watch it, we will have an update for you, just like we did for Cardiff. We'll have one just after Melbourne round, hopefully with some better insights as well. Or I shouldn't say better, I should say even more insights from the round. To keep you guys up to date. So thanks for listening. Don't forget to send us those t-shirt orders. It's got to keep out. We've got to keep this show on the road. So send us the t-shirt orders so we can keep getting some funds in to support what we're doing. Hopefully you like us and buy a shirt from us. Follow us on social media too to keep up to date with any of the info that we find out. Not everything comes into the shows because it won't be at a timely point, but as soon as we find it out, we'll pop it up a post on our social medias. So follow AlwaysMoto and then follow and subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast feed. If your podcast app allows, leave us a rating. It helps us stay relevant and up on the search finding aspects of those podcast apps. So it's important for us. So please do that. Don't forget to check out our written articles over on fullnoise.com.au. We do all these emergency department segments over there in written form. We also do product reviews and bike reviews over there on fullnoise.com.au as well. So check out that site, please. That's it for this week. That's it for this show. Remember, you got to be smooth to be fast, because if you're not, I'll probably be seeing you right here in an emergency department deep in the clinic with some strapping tape. See you later, guys and girls.